I rise today to speak on that motion to proceed to the passage of the Export-Import Bank legislation that has come over from the House and passed the House with a vote of 330 to 93, so a pretty resounding vote in favor of moving forward on the EXIM Bank, the Export-Import Bank, that is a major tool to financing manufacturing in the United States when they have products to be sold around the globe. We hear the President talk all the time about the fact that we need to increase our exports. Well, this is a very important tool that has existed for decades in helping businesses across our country produce product and get sales into overseas markets. So the fact that this legislation passed the House, again, with an overwhelming positive vote, and I should point out to my colleagues here in the Senate, without amendment. It was not amended on the floor. That is that my colleagues on the House side, both Republicans and Democrat, worked out such a positive proposal that it went to the House floor without amendment. So now we have the chance to bring it up here and pass this legislation, and I would just urge my colleagues to do so very quickly, because this legislation and this authorization for the Export-Import Bank is expiring at the end of this month. So yes, here we are again at the 11th hour. Instead of giving predictability and certainty to a very important program, we're down to the last minutes about whether it's going to continue to operate in the normal ways that it does. So I'm here to ask my colleagues to, on the Republican side of the aisle, to move forward, do like your House colleagues did, agree to the legislation, and let's get it out of here so that people know in across America that this program will continue. Mr. President, I toured Washington State, who has many, many companies that benefit from the Export-Import Bank. One of them was a company in Spokane, Washington, SCAFCO, which happens to be one of the largest makers of grain silos in the world, and they export these grain silos. They're used in the United States, but they're used all over the world. And I saw 200 workers there that know firsthand how important it is to get this legislation adopted and move forward, because it means sales of those grain silos all around the world. And they have used this financing mechanism to expand overseas sales to 11 new countries and to make sure that they were continuing to compete on an international basis. If you look at over the last 5 years, this bank has supported over $64 billion of sales and exports in Washington State. And so, yes, some of those jobs are related to aviation, but 83,000 of related jobs in Washington State are small businesses, companies like Sonico and Moses Lake, which is a machine shop, and they do repair parts for aircraft for 40 different clients spread across the globe. We were at another company in Yakima, a music company, which, if anybody's heard of Manhasset Music Stands, it's an unbelievable story of a success of a company that is has sales of over $1 million to various countries around the globe, and people who definitely like the fact that made in America means quality, and that they have been able to access all of these markets. And we saw in a company in the Everett area, Esterline, which has built airplane parts and employs over 600 people, have used this agreement. Basically, they build the overhead cockpit part of airplanes, and they sell those to a variety of businesses all around the globe. And so without the financing of the EXIM Bank, these companies lose out on an international basis to the financing mechanisms that other countries have, whether that's Canada, Europe, other places. So this program is very, very successful. And I might add, adds billions of dollars back to the U.S. government. This is not a program that costs us money. This is a program that basically generates revenue back to the federal government. So I just want to say to my colleagues, there were several things that were added in the House bill, a GAO report on evaluating the banks and capital market conditions, making sure that they do an annual report on due diligence and the purpose of the loan, additional requirements by Treasury, making sure that that we continue to oversee the Ex-Im Bank. So lots of language in making sure that there is transparency in the Ex-Im Bank financing mechanism. So I think that this is a good resolution. I applaud my colleagues in the House, Representative Hoyer and Cantor and Boehner, who all worked on this agreement, and I hope that my colleagues will move quickly on it. There's one thing that we know right now. We need to do everything we can to help our economy and to help jobs. Well, the Ex-Im Bank has been a proven job creator in the United States, helping U.S. companies compete internationally. It has helped us pay down the deficit in the past, and now all we need to do is give it the certainty that it will continue to operate as of May 31st this year. So let's get on with this business of making sure that we're focusing on the economy and make sure the Ex-Im Bank, we proceed to this measure and pass this as soon as possible. I thank the President. I yield the floor.